Hello, you've entered the domain. I am Joe. Today is May 4th, 2010, or as you Star Wars nerds call it, May the 4th be with you. I really think that's kind of sad, but whatever, to each their own. Today's show, also brought to you by Kitties. I'm going to be talking a little bit about the iPad and the new iPhone 4G that has recently been uncovered by Gizmodo. Unfortunately, the attitude that Apple's taken with protecting their secrets has been, well, for a company that's 100% in the private sector, they rival the corporate security of many of the government contractors. Apple's been really good up until this point in protecting their secrets. Shut up! And keeping everything in the dark. Nobody knew what the original iPhone looked like, and people could only speculate based on natural design and the natural evolution of hardware. Shut up! Recently, Gizmodo got a hold of a lost iPhone, turning this whole thing of Apple putting their boot through Jason Chen's front door. I can see both sides of the picture. I've seen the article from Engadget's CEO. I've seen the statement made from Gawker Media to the authorities. I'm kind of in the middle on it. Speaking of the new iPhone, I think they're going to release it earlier than they originally planned, which is only good for us. Who really cares about Apple's bottom line? I'm sure they posted a huge profit margin last quarter, and it's going to be even higher at the end of this quarter. The new iPhone, purportedly, according to the pictures and the video posted on Gizmodo, has a forward-facing camera. This infers many things. For one thing, it infers video calling, and if AT&T is still on board, it infers video calling over AT&T's new fledgling 4G network. This means that instead of using the internet, when you dial your phone, you'll have the option of having a video conversation with somebody. I think this is really important. There have been many phones out there that had forward-facing cameras, but two things kept it from really catching on. One, the network really didn't support that technology, nor was it really advocated by the network. Two, the phone really wasn't something special that people wanted to get their hands on. As we've seen with AT&T, they have been pushing forward with the iPhone as their primary product. Really, they don't care too much about their other product. The iPhone has been their biggest cash cow to date, and I think they're going to do everything they can to keep moving it along. So with this forward-facing camera on the new iPhone, face-to-face calling is going to become a really important thing to have. A lot of people are going to want it, but one of the things that Apple brings to the table is everybody's going to be getting an iPhone. Anybody who's had an iPhone wants the next one immediately as soon as it comes out. The problem is now we have a big giant iPhone. The way I see it, Apple's answering a question that nobody's really asking. Question: do I need a 10-inch iPhone? Awesome. See, the biggest problem with the iPad is it's still a closed system. You're only allowed to do what Lord Steve deems worthy for his iChildren. I got my hands on an iPad at a Best Buy a couple weeks ago. I honestly wasn't all that impressed. After having been an iPhone owner and user for a couple of years now, I really didn't see what all the hype was about. I can see some really killer applications for having a larger screen. Seriously, people, 4x3, when everything else in the entire world is 16:9, it's like they bought up all the old LCDs from 2005. My biggest gripe with the iPad is that Lord Steve seems to have so much push that even though the device itself isn't worth shit, the entire industry is bending over backwards and choking itself trying to adhere to new Apple standards. I think it's great that this kind of innovation can draw new standards and push everything forward and cause people to change things over. But I think the iPad as a product, not so great. I've been back and forth about wanting one, and I'm not exactly sure I'm ever going to really want one. Perhaps it's something I might get for my kids. Until it doesn't cost as much as a decent laptop, I really can't see myself buying one. To be quite honest, I think I'd rather hang out and wait for a nice Windows 7 tablet. That brings me to another point. Android. Played with it a couple of times. Some of the hardware that Android's come out on has been fantastic, but Android in and of itself is not very impressive, especially for somebody who's used to the iPhone OS. One of the things I'm getting a little sick and tired of is seeing Android pop up on a tablet that's meant to be a computing device, not a mobile device. I think Android has a lot of potential on a phone. I really don't think it stands a whole lot of potential on a tablet, not until it's properly matured. This has been World Joemination. Have a good May 4th, and I'll see you tomorrow.